What's up, everybody? It's your man about town, Markey Chukes, along with my co-host Travis Mofford. And today we have with us Mayor David Berger. Thank you, Mayor, for coming and sitting down with the Travis and I today. Today, you have some things that you want to some points that you wanted to get across real quick, and I'm not going to delay time or anything. So we're just going to break right into that.
Okay.
What's on your mind?
Well, Markey and Travis, I appreciate the opportunity to chat with you. I think everybody's well aware that we've seen in recent months a very dramatic uptick in the amount of gun violence that's occurring in our community. And my own sense of this is that we're going to continue to see death. We're going to continue to see very serious injuries until family members intervene. We basically have groups in the north end, groups on the east side that are at war with each other. This goes back probably to about 2010 when the murder took place on Madison. And there's been a continuing kind of escalation of the conflict that's occurring. And it's something that really does require that the families, I'm talking about the moms, the dads, the aunts, the uncles, the grandmas, the grandpas, the uncles, the aunts, those who love the fellows, principally the men and boys that are doing this, need to intervene in their lives. They need to get them to put the guns down. They need to ask that they stop what they're doing. And I think that is the only way this will stop. It's not something that I as the mayor can intervene in. It's not something that the police chief can intervene in a way that stops it. It only stops when the families, the ones that love them, in fact, get them to put the guns down. And so my hope is that family members, it has happened in the past. It's the only way this has stopped in the past is when family members have in fact said enough. And so I'm asking that happen. I'm asking family members to in fact step up and make certain that their loved ones separate themselves, do something to assure that they and the ones that they care for are safe.
I know a little earlier we had a conversation. We're talking about when I grew up, we had, as a kid, we had a Salvation Army Community Center for the summertime. We had Bradfield Center. Then Hope Center came along. So at an earlier age, we had kids that were more involved with different activities that were keeping them, out of the streets. Because a lot of kids are getting into more trouble earlier because of, possibly because of the lack of positive things for them to do in the summertime. So what is it that the city is doing, or what do you feel that the city can do to get kids more involved and get them off the street in the summer at an earlier age? We're talking 5 years old is the earliest ages I think we had at the community centers growing up. So to get them involved with that, as opposed to some of the nonsense that leads to the violence and the other things that we're looking at right now.
Well, of course, the Health Partners of Western Ohio, in fact, has been sponsoring Bradfield Center and keeping Bradfield Center open, specifically for the kinds of programming that you're talking about. There is the city's own summer youth program, which continues to operate, and it's for the younger children in particular. We also have a set of activities that the Lima City Schools is continuing to promote throughout the summer, and we want to encourage people to make connections with all of those programs. I would say as well, there's been a good rollout of summer youth employment opportunities through for young people, and internships being created around the community so that young people can get jobs and job experience. We want to encourage people to connect through Ohio Means Jobs for youth related employment opportunities.
Okay, and that's something that we touched on a little bit as well, just the correlation between violence and financial situations in different people's home lives. So what you're talking about the Ohio Means Jobs and what they do, because a lot of people may not know about the Ohio Means Jobs. Like I drive past it on almost a daily basis and I see it, but I'm just not really aware of what goes on in there and what is their purpose. So that may be something that you could touch on now, just to kind of explain what they do, who they are, and how that can help the community at hand.
Well, I think the first thing that ought to be understood is that there right now are 1,400 jobs available within a 10-mile radius of Lima. And these are jobs from the unskilled to the very skilled. And the best way to connect and find those job opportunities is through Ohio Means Jobs, which is in the former Westinghouse Sunstrand facility there on South Dixie. They go in and they register, and Ohio Means Jobs has a complete package that they work up with an individual that's interested. They do job assessments. They will help an individual prepare a resume. They do personality testing. I mean, if you're kind of a quiet, reserved individual, you probably don't want to get referred for a sales job. It's that kind of assessment that needs to happen. And if you've got drug issues, if you can't pass a set of tests, they will assist in getting individuals cleaned up. They'll get them to social services, so in fact, they can pass those kinds of tests. If individuals have criminal backgrounds coming out of prison, sometimes those are issues, but Ohio Means Jobs is connected with employers who in fact do accept people with previous felony records. So the best way to connect is by going into Ohio Means Jobs and getting registered and working through that process to get referred out to employers that are actively looking for employees.
Okay. And of course, we're not shirking the responsibility of us as family members, like you said off the top, of making sure that we're talking to our young men and our family and our young women, and making sure that we're imparting some type of standard and way of conducting ourselves. But just to make sure that we're getting all the assistance and the resources and seeing everything that's out there for you guys to get whatever help you need to make sure that you're keeping your young people off the street and keeping them safe. So that's why we want to make sure that we're getting an understanding of what the city is doing. I know one thing, when I was I worked in Dayton, and they had police resource officers in the buildings. And one thing with those officers is that they built up a rapport with the students that were in there. And a lot of times nowadays, you don't see that rapport between police officers and students and young people. My son goes to a Lima public school, and the officer that's in their cafeteria doesn't interact with the students. So you don't have that relationship. He's still standing there and almost in an authoritative position, as opposed to, hey, kids, this is who I am. Get to know me. We're good guys. We're not bad guys. I remember Officer Bob at Safety City, and was it Officer Meyer maybe? It was another guy, Officer Meyer. So, I mean, as a child, you build up that relationship with police officers, and I think that dynamics, it may be missing nowadays. So can you speak to that, or is that something that's more police?
No, we can talk about that. We in fact have reestablished community policing stations. There are 3 now operating in the city. So there are opportunities for folks to connect in our neighborhoods with police officers. But then we also have, with the active involvement of the Lima City Schools, we have been able to establish school resource officers in most, but not quite all, of the schools, simply because of the hiring process has been slow. So there is an effort to connect with kids, with adults in our community at the very human level, recognizing that establishing relationships is important. I also want to mention, particularly for folks that are in the gangs that are in the north end and the east side, there is a special effort that has been established through Coleman Services. So if individuals are looking for help, and they want to access programming, they want to escape the lifestyle that they're now in, they should call Coleman Services at 419-229-2222. Staff there will connect them to special resources. This is coming as a result of efforts that the Attorney General's office specific individual by the name of Bob Fiatol has been conducting. He's been here on 3 occasions over the last 18 months, trying to connect to young people who, in fact, are expected, because of their background, because of their previous involvements with the courts and the police. They've been called in. They have been asked to. They've been. There's been information shared about the programming that's available, the educational opportunities, the job opportunities, and also the flip side, the kinds of penalties that can come with either the physical damage of what guns and violence does, but also the kind of prison, long-term prison penalties that result from this kind of community violence. So we want to encourage people to take advantage of resources that are out there.
And I think many times people don't know about the resources that are out there. I mean, because I'm from Lima, born and raised. I've been back here for like 8 years, and this is the first time that I've heard of some of these things that you're speaking of today. So it may be a thing where people just don't know. Maybe the information is not getting disseminated the way it should be, so people are aware that, hey, that there are these resources, there are these things out there for you in the community. They're put in place for you to make better lives for yourself, and to bridge gaps that we feel that may be between the community leaders and the community itself.
That's why I'm here.
And that's why he's here.
And that's why I didn't have to say anything. Thank you for coming by. Anytime, give us a call. Once again, like we always say, y'all have a good day. Y'all be blessed. Love one another. Peace. Say peace, man.
Peace.